Now more than ever, transportation business owners need industry experts at every stage in their company's life cycle. We bring them to you in the hot seat.
Welcome to In the Hot Seat with the Tenney Group. I'm Spencer Tenney. It's good to be with you. Got another great guest today with us here. It's Ellen Voie from Women in Trucking Association. Ellen, welcome to the hot seat.
Oh, thank you, I think.
Yes. So before we jump in here, just tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do.
Sure. I'm the president and CEO of the Women in Trucking Association. We're a nonprofit organization with close to 5,000 members in 10 countries. And our goal is pretty simple. It's to increase the percentage of women employed in the transportation industry.
That's a pretty good intro. You ready to heat it up a little bit?
I guess.
All right. So let's jump right in here in terms of what are the challenges right now that women face in the trucking industry?
Well, first of all, the industry as a whole needs good drivers. Mm-hmm. And in the past, they ignored half the population, which women make up half the population. So women are still under 8% of the driving population. So the industry is looking at women as, wow, we can possibly fill these seats with great drivers.
That's pretty good insight there. So I didn't realize that you're in 8 or 10 different countries right here. Mm-hmm. So America or other countries, in what ways are women providing unique value to the transportation industry?
I'm glad you asked that question because women actually are safer drivers. It's been proven. The American Transportation Research Institute found that men were 20% more likely to be involved in a crash in every category. And that's at night, at intersections, curves, everything. So first of all, women are safer. Anecdotally, people will tell me that women are better with equipment, women are better with paperwork, and better with customers. So, and think about this. Women are risk averse. So we're driven by estrogen, men testosterone, and testosterone has a risk factor built in there. But estrogen makes us more collaborative and team-oriented. So isn't that the kind of driver you want in your tractor trailer?
I'd want him in my fleet for sure. I'm feeling some passion here.
Yes.
So where does that come from? And why are you so passionate about this particular issue and this association?
You know, I've always been an advocate for the family, the driver, the human side of the trucking industry. I actually did my master's thesis on the complex identities of women married to professional drivers. So I've always been very interested in what women bring to this industry, whether they're married to a driver or they're driving a truck or they're owning a trucking company. And so the industry, it's always been Smith and Sons. You know, every big trucking company out there started with a man in a truck. And I want to see the industry change and have large companies that were started by a woman in a truck.
I love it. I love it. So what would you say are some of the things that you're most excited about that your association is doing as it relates to this issue?
Well, first of all, we need to reach the next generation. So we learned that the Boy Scouts had a transportation patch and Girl Scouts didn't. So we created one with the Greater Chicago, Northern Indiana Girl Scout region. And over 1,000 girls have now earned a transportation patch. We also came out with a supply chain activity book that teaches kids about how the grain goes from the field to the bakery in a truck, bakery to packaging in a truck, packaging to warehousing in a truck, and who's the final mile? A Girl Scout.
You know, for a lot of folks that, they don't care how they solve the problem. They just want to solve some problems. So what advice would you give to the companies that like the idea of what you're saying, but maybe what would be some applications of these ideas so that they have a better chance of recruiting top talent that are women?
Well, first of all, you have to understand what women are looking for in a company. Mm-hmm. Women will come to a company for money. They come into the industry for money, but they're attracted to a company based on different things. First of all, they want a company that has a safety culture. And I don't mean just talk the talk, I mean walk the walk. Where do you send them? How do you treat inclement weather? And how do you maintain the equipment so that there's no breakdown? So safety is a top priority. I don't see companies recruiting based on safety. And also, you need to watch the wording of the recruiting ads. You know, don't say, we'll get you home to your wife. Also, the ads need to be placed in places that you can find potential women. And here's a tip for all of your viewers. Mm-hmm. About 80% of the women on our Facebook page have a motorcycle.
80?
Female drivers. Female
80%?
drivers. Now, it's not scientific. This is Facebook. But think about the type of woman who comes into the trucking industry. She's not afraid of engines. She's in a male-dominated environment. So what should companies be doing to attract women? Go where they are. Go to the motorcycle rallies. Put a recruiting shirt on one of your happy female drivers and send her out at a charity run.
I would have never expected it. It's very specific. I really like that. So let's talk about the future of women in trucking. I mean, what should we expecting to change in the next 3, 5, 10 years? What do you see happening?
We have so many exciting things coming.
Right on us.
One of them is we're starting a new driver ambassador program. So we will actually have a driver in a truck wrapped with women in trucking and a trailer that will have hands-on learning, maybe a simulator, so that we can go to trade shows and truck stops and schools and have people walk in and see not only the history of women in the industry, but also what women can do and what women bring, and maybe some of our image team members and just get more exposure. I also I'm working really hard to get. We have an image team and they represent women in trucking, the drivers, but I want to get them in non-traditional television, magazine. We've had drivers on Dr. Oz, Oprah magazine, Ricky Lake's show, and more recently the Megyn Kelly show. And when that happens, people outside the industry look at these women and go, wow, I never thought about that. I can do that.
I've got one last wild card question for you. So, love to read. I'm curious, what would be something that you've read in the last 6 months that you would recommend to our network out here, perhaps specifically the women in our audience?
You know, the book that I have on my desk right now that I'm just eating it up, it's called Why Do So Many Incompetent Men Become Leaders and What to Do About It, and it was written by a man.
By me? I thought you said it was written by me.
No, it was written by a man. But in it talks about the unconscious bias that women face in the office, and it's written by a man. So I give a lot of presentations and talk to people about how to address unconscious bias, and we have to be aware of it, and we're all doing it, women and men. I'm not just saying, but if we're aware of it and we can call people out on it, you know, that's how we're going to start to eliminate it.
Well, I really appreciate you being here. I think you really taught us some things here during this time together. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's going to wrap it up for us here in the hot seat. Again, I'm Spencer Tenney. We'll see you down the road.